World Wide Web. Welcome back to my stock channel. This is James with the Dow Jones Industrial Average update. Market in general, S&P, Russell 2000, Nasdaq. We got all of it for you here. Just to wrap up the situation, it is Saturday. It's June. I believe it's the 3rd. Dow's at $33,762. Looks like it's on its way back to 34,000 Dow. This thing doesn't care what happens. It just keeps going up sometimes. Well, we had a debt limit deal reached. Whoopity-doo. It was down because they were scared they weren't going to make a deal. And then they made a deal, so it went up. So this is where the world thinks it belongs right now. We have Jerome Powell coming out on the 15th of June, and he is going to do another Fed 2 p.m. Release of the new Fed rate increase, if there is one. If you believe your news channels, you have probably been told 600 times this week that they're going to pause for June. They're not going to do a rate increase. These people have said next month is going to be a pause 6 months in a row now. They've been wrong 6 months in a row. Here's why he's going to raise rates in June. Number one, inflation, the last report was just 0.4 increasing month over month. We're going in the wrong direction with inflation. The current rate is not working. It's not reducing it. It's still going up. We're almost all the way getting back up to where we were last October. In fact, all of these rate increases haven't done a darn thing to stop inflation. And he promised not to stop raising rates until he did control inflation. That's what Jerome Powell said over and over and over again for well over a year now. And he's raised rates every single time. Because of that. Yeah, he's down to 0.25 now every time, and he probably thinks he slowed it down or something. I don't believe he feels that way. I think a 0.50 would be, obviously they need to get rid of the inflation, and they need to get rid of it now. It keeps going up, and if he wants to slow play it, inflation seems to go up slowly, and the rates seem to go up slowly. Is there a terminal ending to this? No, not necessarily. It could just keep going on and on and on. So he needs to jump on it. He needs to do the 0.50, but that's neither here nor there. He's going to do a 0.25, obviously, for three main reasons. Number one, inflation went up 0.4 month over month. Second reason is there's another 3 million job vacancies. We went all the way down to only 9 million job vacancies. Now we're at, I think it was 12 million job vacancies. Just this week that report came out, which means that employers don't even have employees anymore again. So how are they going to pay them less? They can't. They're going to have to pay them more to get them to come in to work because nobody wants to work right now. However, there was another double the amount of jobs added this week, new people with new jobs. That also happened, which means that they're still hiring. And a lot of people actually took jobs. No news on how many people lost jobs last week. Might have been just as many that lost them. But the things that Jerome Powell is trying to do is squash the wage services sector spiraling inflation. If you go to McDonald's or most fast food restaurants or most smaller restaurants, they have a really hard time getting staff right now. Waitresses, waiters, managers, cooks, anything that pays $12, $14, $15, $16 an hour. Nobody wants to do it because they don't want to earn that little amount of money because you can't afford groceries when you can't even afford half your rent and your groceries. And I don't blame you. You want to go to work for Chick-fil-A or Chipotle for 17 or 18 bucks an hour. You want to go to work for Target. The big ballers are, at least getting $15 an hour now for their trade when they were getting $8 an hour for their trade before. So they're getting a lot more. And then inflation happened because of that. And then they needed more money to afford everything. So then they just got pickier. And then a lot of places now are paying over $20 an hour. And then they have to raise the prices of all their food on the menus and everything that they buy and everything that they do. And then the customers all pay more and inflation goes up again. And then all their workers, guess what? They can't afford to live anymore. So they all quit and go elsewhere for more money. And it's a cycle. It's a circle from hell that never ends, and it never ends until he kills it. And what Jerome Powell is doing is not killing it. He has 3 points of awful negative news and reasons why he needs to raise rates in June. I would say that 0.25 is not going to fix the inflation problem anytime soon. It's not even going to get to neutral. It's roaring in the opposite direction. You can see it everywhere on just about everything. Eggs got cheap again, thank God, and gas is still up $1 from when Joe took office. It's at $3.37 today, which I think is fantastic because it's at least not $4 or $5. But it'd be really nice to see it at $2 again or $2.50 or something. It'd be nice if we were there, but we're not. So we're kind of torn in the great earnings. Companies are reporting amazing earnings reports. NVIDIA went nuts this week because of AI. Everybody's buying computer chips like crazy since there was a big shortage. There was a backlog, and that backlog got filled. And now that the backlogs got filled, NVIDIA had an amazing quarter. It was probably a one-off. Companies seem to be doing positive, though. Lots of them are doing positive. Target's doing horrible. Walmart is doing better. A lot of the restaurants seem to be doing well, but some of them are in the real estate business. So they make money that way, just from locations staying open. They're not really in the food sales business. Not necessarily. And the ones that are, people are still going out to eat. People are still ordering Uber Eats. People are still ordering DoorDash. People are still shopping. People are going into debt more and more. Credit cards are twice as full now as they were 6 months ago. So we know this is coming to a point eventually. We can watch the credit filling up, everybody's credit cards. We can assume the closer they get to 100%, and the higher interest rates get, the worse it's going to be for everybody. It is going to come a crunch point. He's going to raise rates until we reach that crunch point, or we're just going to crunch it all on our own, because the average American can't afford to live in many of our fine states because it's too expensive. The rents in Florida doubled. The food seems like it's doubled pretty much everywhere, if not 50%. Everything you buy in life has doubled. Is everybody struggling and coming together and downgrading from T-Mobile to some cheap cell phone? Is everybody canceling their cable? Is everyone... Yeah, we're all taking steps to whack stuff out of our budget, all those wonderful American things that we enjoyed. We're losing them, and we're buckling our bootstraps, and we're putting stuff on credit cards. But that day is going to run out soon. And when that day runs out is when the earnings, finally we hit the earnings recession. It's probably the last stage in this game. I wasn't sure what the right order of things would be. Does this all start out with, do you want to short the Dow? No, you wanted to buy gold. In hindsight, you probably wanted to get gold a year ago. Then you wanted to get bonds a year ago. Get some T-bills, get some I-bonds, whatever you can. But yeah, we're in a really weird place right now. There is an upcoming recession coming. People can't afford to live like this. There's going to need to be a crash. The Fed's going to force a crash. The cycle of services is just not ending. The services sector, the labor problem just got big time expanded. And to make it all worse, the lying news is telling everybody they're going to pause June 15th. They said they were going to pause in May. They said they were going to pause in April and March and February. And it's just been pause, pause, pause. Next month, pause. Last night, they said they're going to pause in June, maybe raise in July, and then definitely pause again in August. Definitely pause again in August. That one's not even a question. He's going to pause again in August. And it's like they just don't listen to Jerome Powell. There's a whole bunch of Fed chair people all over the country. They'll interview one of them and extrapolate what they want to out of it, take it all out of context, and then spout it on their TV channels. It's just disgusting. They're cheering for the Dow. They're hoping the market does good. They're literally lying to everyone's face every single month. You get told at least for 10 days out of every month that they're going to pause, and then you get told for 10 days out of every month that it's going to be 0.25, and then they start talking about maybe pausing again. But it's always definitely a pause for next month. And then the next month comes and it's a pause for next month, and it's just a big repeat. It's a lie. No, he's going to continue raising rates until inflation is under control. End of story. He's not going to pause for a month and see if inflation butters up even more. Of course it is. The average the average interest rate for this country is 5.5% over the last 50 years. We're still, I don't even believe we're at that level yet. I think we're at like 5.25. We're not even to the level of even. That's how far off. And they're talking about the terminal rate. We've already reached the terminal rate. I want to throw up when I watch the news. Honestly, it's so disturbing. It's almost like they're speaking for Jerome and just making up stuff that he said. Please go watch his speeches. For a whole year, everything this man has said was, as long as inflation is going up, we will continue raising rates to fight inflation. End of story. He said it 9,000 times, and they just can't understand it. They can't repeat it. They can't say that to their viewers. Well, he did say that he would raise the rates if the inflation went up, or if there's not good signs, Well, there's mega bad signs, and inflation's gone up. There's no check on the market. He doesn't like seeing it at almost 34,000. This makes him just feel like nobody cares about what he says or does. And he's going to raise it. He's going to raise it until he gets everybody's attention and they start acting like we're in a recession and we have some kind of a sell-off and firing party and somebody's bleeding. And those bleeding people are going to be companies, and that's going to start the bear market. Sadly, that's where this is going. Is inflation going to get fixed? No. The problem just got worse. Is it going to go on through October? Yes. Is he going to raise rates all the way through October? Yes. Will inflation stop by October? If he raises rates until October, it might. And maybe if he throws some 0.50s on the board and starts getting some prices down in the services sector for people that work there, they need to get less wages. End of story. They can't make $25 an hour to make at Burger King. These people are high school kids. This is insane what's going on right now, and we don't have an adult in the room that can fix it. The White House has already replaced 2 of the voting members and the vice chair of the Fed. I think the White House is controlling the Fed. I think the White House is saying, no, don't crash the markets, and they're making him do this 0.25 dance and keeping it under the average over the last 50 years. And that average is 5.5% over 50 years. That includes the 10-year run that we just did at 0. So the real average is probably 6.5%. That's the real cost of going to a bank and borrowing money. That's like what it should cost in a real world, in a real capitalistic economy. Money isn't free. Nobody can go get 0% interest loans. But yeah, we could do that for a really long time. And, well, we're all just learning that that's not how life works. And everybody thinks we're going back to where we were before. No time soon, folks. The last inflation boom went on for 10 years. From 1971 to 1981, it didn't end. Why? Because they chased it weekly, like they're doing here. They kept pausing. They didn't turn up the heat. Finally, they turned up the heat at the end and they squashed it away. The very late 70s, they finally got courageous enough to take it up into the teens to shut this thing down. It was almost the same story as we're seeing now. But folks, this is a dangerous market. The bulls are going to jump all over it like crazy over and over again until they see the earnings beatings over and over again from everybody. It's going to have to come from Walmart. Target, Chipotle, McDonald's, real estate. It's going to need to come from everywhere. It can't come selectively. And then the Dow's finally going to go down. Is it going to get there eventually? Yes. People are broke. People can't afford this crap. Their credit's about to run out, and we're about to notice. We just haven't been able to notice yet because everybody has a credit card and everybody got stimulated for a couple of years. But now their credit cards are filling up. You can go research that and see it for yourself. You realize it's the end of the line. The customer just doesn't have the money anymore for this crap. We kept it going for a long time, but the show is going to end. And it's probably going to end, I'm guessing, by October. By this fall, we're going to see the end game of the earnings of just everybody's revenue down huge, everybody's losses down huge, everybody laying people off. We're going to have an actual recession, and it's going to be down for a while, and eventually there'll be people desperate enough to work again. Everyone's going to be so desperate for money, it's going to take that desperation to get them to go work at McDonald's for $13 an hour again. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take making 12 million Americans that desperate. They need to go do it. They need to fill those jobs up. And then we'll be back to hopefully an economy that can grow again, probably slowly. This Dow 36,000. The all-time high is 36,000. Here we are at 34,000 with this looming. We got big problems, folks. I would not short the Dow yet unless it gets to 34,000 or higher, and maybe short it down to 33 because it seems to want to play that. Do you want to be a buyer at 33? Yes, on a couple of things that are not American, maybe like Carnival Cruise Lines or Norwegian Cruise Lines. They're in the Bahamas. They have no services problem. They can go pick up employees from any country on earth. They don't have to deal with all of our issues, and they're profitable through a recession. I would look for companies that are profitable through a recession and that are at least anchored off the USA just a little bit, so they're not sucked into the services sector inflation problem, which may never end if the White House actually controls the Fed right now. They may just make the intentional choice to not squash this the way they should. If they were going up 0.75 January and February and March, they probably would have inflation killed right now. Yeah, we'd be at 8% on a house or 9% on a house, but there wouldn't be any inflation. They would have conquered it, they would have killed it, and it's just they could have killed it quick and brought it back. With a rate decrease, they just need to absolutely stifle the inflation. They haven't done it yet. It's still going up. So hang in there, folks. It's coming this fall to a theater near you. Sorry about the bad news. You can enjoy making some money until then, because everyone's going to be psychotic until then. So just stay with it. Stay rolling with the psychos. Jump on the bull market with them if you want to. But just realize sometime coming in the next 6 or 7 or 8 months is going to be the massacre. But we're not seeing it on paper yet, and we're kind of far from it on paper yet. So that's why I'm thinking October or this fall. It's going to be when everyone runs out of money, and that's going to be when they run out of credit. And when you check that out, they're almost out of credit. So yeah, I say a little bit longer, then everything is going to come down. So if you're going to make a big purchase, you better wait on it. Don't buy that car yet. Don't buy that house yet. You will get your crash. You will get all this crap taken off the ceiling, all this inflationary nonsense. They will squash it eventually. And if they don't, we're just all going to lose everything anyhow thanks to inflation. So people in the United States are flying to whatever it is, Argentina or Venezuela. They have 100% inflation. They're able to go see Taylor Swift over there for like $10 American. So it's really kind of funny. That was in the news this week. I was like, wow, okay, so Taylor can't convert money. I was trying to wonder why it was so affordable, but yeah, she was trying to get the average person over there to be able to see her concert, but no, it's being attended by a bunch of Americans swooped in and bought up the tickets. It's crazy. The world's gone nuts. Play with it up and down. Stay offshore if you can. Do your Dow and your short the S&P. When it hits 34, you make some money that way. You can be a little bull when it hits 33 or 32. Time to jump in maybe on something and ride the temporary, oh wow, we made a debt deal news. On the 15th of June, we're going to have the interest rate increase. It's going to increase at 2 p.m. At 2:30 p.m., Jerome Powell will start talking. As soon as he does, the market will crash. No matter what the rate increase was or wasn't, as soon as he starts talking, it's going to be shitty news across the board, and the thing will just tank, and you'll get to enjoy from 2:30 p.m. on that day till close a massively tanking Dow. That's my one prediction for you. I've made that prediction, oh God, 7 months in a row now, and it happened 7 times in a row. As soon as he tells people the state of the nation and his willingness not to take his foot off the gas pedal, the Dow just crumbles. And then everybody wakes up psycho the next day and the news starts lying, and then it starts going up again. And you're like, you just got done saying, but they don't care. They're liars. They're all in the tank. The whole game is fixed and rigged. So get what you can out of it. If you're smarter than everyone else, you'll see all this crap ahead of time. You'll know what's fake. You'll know what's real. You'll know the psychos are going to make it go up, and you can jump on their tail wagon and make some money. You know that it's going to go down. Jump in and make some money. Play what you know is happening. Be fearful of the future. Maybe it's a good time to play with options because you'll lower the amount that you're in on it for. I'd rather lose a few $100 than a few thousand any day if I get it wrong. So I would highly recommend the options market, especially with its volatility. You'll make a much larger multiplier, and your risk factor goes way down. Don't gamble with most of your cash. Maybe 5 or 10% of it, use that to buy options, and maybe just steer clear of the market or just play it through options. I think this is the time for that. You don't want to lose half of your 401k or half of your nest egg in the stock market. You don't want to lose 25% of it. Maybe you can handle losing $500, but not 50,000. So maybe it's a good time for options. Start thinking about that. If you're not doing them, start learning about them. There's so many good ones out there. You can buy long-term ones that go on for a year or two into the future. You're not even really speculating because everything goes up and down, and you just got to wait until it goes up one day and then sell it. As long as it goes up one day within the next year or two, you'll be good. So there's always lots of good option opportunities. They're just as good as stocks. In most cases, you'll wish that you had bought the option in the end because your risk is much, much lower, and you don't have to buy as much of it. It's much cheaper. You can control a lot more of it. There's a higher upside, and you can take 95% of your money and probably buy some T-bills with it right now and do much better than you'll ever do in the market. Unless you're a speculator or day or week trader like I am. I'm more of a week trader, a few day trader. I like to short it and buy it when it crashes down, or after when obvious news is forthcoming. I like to jump on it. But I recommend you do the same and watch out for the big recession this fall. It's coming. It's not here yet, but it's coming. Have a wonderful Saturday. It's raining here in Florida. I guess we got our first hurricane, so that means natural gas is going to go up a little bit. Watch that weather. Watch those hurricanes. Woo! There's some thunder. That was the sound of money right there. Because I bought some natural gas options, I'm really happy about that right now. Come on, hurricanes. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and see you on the next video. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel.